All right. That she's up. Click here. There's my setup there. Okay. Get over here. We're almost set up. How's everybody doing tonight? Search for myself. Remember the first time I tried going live on TikTok? I could not figure out where to find my own live stream. All right. All right. So I don't have projects I have right now. This tiny little Hoodoo Hex piece. Let's see if I can show that to you. You can only hardly see what it actually is, right? So I can work on that, but the problem is I'd be learning a weave on camera. I have attempted to do that before, and it did not work out well. I don't have the rings to work on this cube right now. That's just sitting in a pile waiting to get worked on. I did come up. This is like 9 feet of full Persian chain, and I have a lot more of this ring size left. So I don't know if this camera angle is going to work either, but we'll figure it out. The only thing right in front of me would be this bag. So we're gonna figure out how to do a queen ring right in here. But this is a bag, or it will be when I'm done with it. I don't know how I'm gonna finish it, but we can work on this for a little bit. I don't have. We could work on the inlay too, but I don't know. I think this is a good start. Got a new camera setup, or new camera angle. I get eternally frustrated that I can't use the live studio from TikTok, but if everybody starts following, we get to 10,000, we can do this. Alright, for those watching through TikTok, how's the angle? How's the camera angle? What do you feel about it? We might experiment and see if that does a little bit more. Now, it's been a long time since I've worked on this. I don't know if these are the right pliers I used, but I remember these being huge rings, right, comparatively. Okay, let's see here. See if I can compare and contrast this for you. So the smaller rings are what I usually work with, or something similar, and the rings that this bag is made out of are immense. I think they're 12 gauge, 3/8 of an inch. So it's important to use the right pliers, but I did bring my wrist brace because that's going to save me in the long run. We'll see how well these pliers work out. I do have these pliers that I use for larger rings, but usually it's only stainless steel. I think it was these pliers I was using before. We will see. So this bag, should be able to see it fairly easily on the mainstream platforms, right? It's got 6, what is that? 6 elf weave seams making up the bottom, right, and going up the side. I'll show you. You see the weave in the center, right? That's elf weave. It's a little bit different than the regular 4-in-1 the rest of the bag is made out of. So 1, 2, 3, 4. But anyway, yeah, this is bright aluminum from chainreaction.ca in Canada. I don't know if these pliers are going to work. How was everyone's Thanksgiving? I hope it was good. Hope you all had a fun time. Hope you all ate good food. Bungie, have you made chainmail before? Generally, people don't use the term bright aluminum unless they are familiar with it, so yeah. I've gotten... Hey Jeep and Jammer, how you doing? This cube is all bright aluminum as well, and chainreaction.ca. These are, I think, the 18 gauge 1/8 rings, and it's just perfect for a jelly cube. Right, you can see that side's not finished. I've got, I don't know how big I'm gonna make this, but gotta order more rings for it. Jeep and Jamber, how was your Thanksgiving? Mine was pretty good. Went over to the in-laws. Had a tremendous amount of food. You know, I didn't have any pumpkin pie, though. Off and on for 20 years, just basic weaves and scales. That's cool. Been doing this off and on for... How old am I? 41... 27 years now. And that by no means is continuous. A lot of breaks in there, a lot of times when, I don't know, I was in another country and couldn't do this. Today was god awful. What happened, man? Alright. I like being able to see the front of the camera. Don't know if it matters, because I can't really see any of the words on the screen in the comments from here. The attic caught fire. Oh no. Alright. For anyone who's watching, I am live on other platforms under the same name that you would normally go live on. And you get a bit of a different view. And one day it'll all be on my computer, but I gotta get to 10,000 followers first, so. How did your attic caught fire? Now your house is condemned? I believe it, man. That's terrible. So winter hits. Now you gotta find a place to live. Did anyone get hurt? Or is it, like, did you just lose a bunch of stuff? Which, don't get me wrong, sucks. But it'd be much worse if, you know, someone didn't make it out of the fire. You had old style heating lamps in the bathrooms and one of them shorted and caught fire. Oh, man. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I think a couple years ago, 2 years ago, a house one street over went up over the holidays. What one was I working on? Come on. I think I left this ring here to mark where I ended off last time. Alright. It was just you and your wife at home when it happened? You're just glad you were able to get her and the pets out on time? Absolutely, man. That's good to hear that no one was hurt. Are these all the same length now? They look like it. So, like, what is the size of this bag? I'm looking at this, and this is, it's not big enough. So we're just gonna keep making all these sides longer. There's not. It's like the only natural disaster stuff that I've ever had happen was I got back from deployment. I was stationed in Fort Polk, Louisiana. So, like, right before we got back, Katrina hit. And then 2 weeks later, we had Hurricane Katrina roll through, which was you know, still disastrous for New Orleans, but it was more targeted on the westward side of the state. You're going to video the damage tomorrow? Yeah. Start a Give, Send, Go or a GoFundMe or... Because that's no good when your house burns down. Alright. Makes me want to go and double check everything. You know? It's like, how long have we had this piece of equipment? Well, that's no good. Let's see if I can... Do I have a file? No, but this might work. It's just aluminum. Shouldn't take much, right? It's just a nasty burr on there. There you go. You're at your grandparents for a few days and the in-laws for more long-term? Alright, that's not ideal living situation, but at least you have someplace to go. The in-laws we just had Thanksgiving at, we stayed with them for a couple of weeks when we first moved up. And it's always like, you know, it's always like going home whenever we visit. Yes, it's definitely better than nothing. Oh, wow. 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 Did I just do that? All right. How long? I'm trying to think how long we stayed there. It was almost 2 months. We got up here in August and moved into our house by October. So like end of August to the beginning of October sometime. And they're good people, you know. It's not ideal to have anyone living with you. Ever. But it's nice to have them. So I was going to tell you, you know what, apparently at this Thanksgiving at our in-laws, my nephew, who was just moved from one school to another because he was getting into a lot of trouble fighting. And I guess he just wasn't paying any attention for the last several years because he was asked how to spell when. And he's 13 years old. And he could not do it. He has since changed schools and hopefully, well, I don't know, he's 13. I don't know how well he could be doing in school if he can't spell when at 13 years old. And it's like, what do you do at that point? Send him back a few grades? And I learned this because my son, who's younger, who's a couple years younger, could spell all the words that he was asked. And then the two cousins that he was playing with have girlfriends. And my son was like, ooh, smoochy, smoochy, something. Just to be an annoying 9-year-old, right? And his cousin, the one that can't spell, I guess, got pretty aggressive with him. And they were fighting, and I didn't hear anything about it. So my son was afraid to tell me because he didn't want more retaliation from his cousin. So I didn't realize that that was what was going on. So we had to have a little chat with my nephew about keeping our hands to ourselves. It's like, you're 13, dude. At this age, things start getting serious when you're putting your hands on people. All right. It's like at 13, you start getting to the point where wrestling can become assault real quick. And you're getting to be that size where you can start hurting people. Oh, Jeep and Jamber, I'll have you know, not that you care, you've just gone through a tragedy, but I did manage to add some of the higher end images that I'd had done into the slideshow. And for anyone who's not watching on a main platform like Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, I've got a slideshow running of a bunch of stuff I've made over the years and a bunch of products we have in our store and stuff like that. But I added the old high-res photos. Now what I need to do is really go through and crop them so that all the slideshow photos like fill out the whole area I have delineated for them. I don't know if he's still watching, but if he is, what else is going on? I'm waiting on 2 pendants coming in the mail. They're for some sterling silver necklaces I have over here. And hopefully, once I add the pendants, someone will want to snatch those necklaces up real quick. So I need to promote some of the stuff I have finished here that I made for sale. So that I can get money, so that I can order more rings, so that I can make more stuff, so that, you know. So I did have a bunch of people asking about the Jelly Cube. And the problem with this is that each side is about 2 hours, right? There's over 300 rings per side. And just to get it expanded out to this level, I think it was 35 hours and 7,000 rings the last time I measured it, and I've worked on it since then, right? So like a price tag on that is like $400 for a cube. And I'm sure there's someone out there that would pay it, but it's like I'm making this one and I'm just going to make a really big one and call it a day. I might make others for sale later on, but where am I at here? 2, 6, 2. But I've got, so what have I got? I got a bunch of bracelets, 2 necklaces, 2 sterling silver necklaces, and the pendants are sterling. And then everything else is either I ran out of rings or I don't have the right stuff to finish them. So I need to sell some stuff to buy some stuff. foot. My foot's asleep. Something I was thinking about. So I have this 9 feet of full Persian chain over here. Right? And I have a lot more rings to finish it off. And you know how there's wood joinery and metal joinery? It's just the techniques of connecting pieces of wood and pieces of metal together to make them look really cool. So I was thinking about that. And I was like, there's a couple different weaves you can use. There's weaves you can combine, like this E4-in-1 with an elf weave pattern, seaming it all up, right? So you can do that. Did I just lose my spot? I did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. There is. What method was that? There's a picture of some sleeves I did that attached to a leather jacket, a big leather highwayman's coat. And that was, I made this argyle pattern using 4-in-1 and I don't remember if it was, it had to have been elf weave, right? Those two connect together pretty well. 4-in-1 and interwoven 4-in-1. Here's it. Oh no, if I pick that up, dang, my best example is right there. And if I pick it up, my camera will topple over. But it's interwoven 4-in-1 and a weave called GSG. Do I buy the rings and then decide on project or projects? So yeah, that's pretty much what happened, right? Like, some of the stuff, I bought these rings for this, what is now this dice bag. It was going to be, what was I going to make out of this? Earrings. Same with this cube. This was all the anodized titanium I had. This was unanodized titanium, but it had these really bad barbs in it that I couldn't get out at the time, right? There's a video of me crushing up a coffee cup and throwing it in the tumbler with this titanium, and it was in there for 24 hours. And it cleaned it up really well, right? But now it's, I don't know if, what I think has happened is that the glaze from the coffee cup that I crushed darkened all this titanium to a unnaturally dark color, right? And so now I'm waiting to get some ceramic tumbling media to try and clean this up. But I bought it and it had all the cuts were really just sharp and they couldn't be used for what I needed to use them for. So I tossed them to the side and I wasn't ever going to do anything with them until I started this project of getting all of the rings in my basement finished. All right, Jeep and Jammer, you have a good night. I'm sorry to hear about your day, man. If I make the rings, anything becomes possible. Yeah. I'll get there, John. One day at a time. So, a lot of these are rings that, like these anodized titanium rings. When I went to open the ring, half of the anodization would come off. So I tumbled the crap out of them, got a lot of the color removed. I've turned it into a jelly cube, and now this titanium dice bag and the cube, I'm going to anodize those on stream at some point. So, I hear the pitter-patter of little footsteps that shouldn't be downstairs. Oh, I'm good. Thank you. Love you.
Love you. And my feet are not little.
So I'm trying to use up all the rings that I have in the basement, and like this is a random project. I need to fill this with some stainless non-rusting BBs. Right. This is a project using up rings, another cube. A lot of cubes, a lot of spheres, a lot of bags getting used up. And a lot of it is projects that I didn't have any idea I was ever going to end up making. I really went the roundabout way of answering that question, but yeah. So once I have all of these rings used up, I will be buying specific ring sizes to you know, work with different projects, because I have plenty of designs of my own that, you know, I can make for sale. But I want to get rid of all this excess first before I go into anything like that. And most of what I sell, if you go to my website, I sell chainmail themed apparel and accessories. And it's prints of chainmail weaves. So there's Hoodoo Hex, there's E4-in-1, there's... what else is there? Dragon Scale. Some weaves don't transfer over into a print very well, like Celtic Vision. That one is no bueno. Alright, where am I at here? So I have the I have a plan in place that once I'm done using up all the rings out here, my purchase of experimental rings is going to be very limited. I will largely only be buying rings that I know what I'm going to do with. So, but I've got a long way before that happens. I've done a lot. A lot has gotten done. But I have 1, 2, 3 tables next to where I'm sitting right now, full of stuff to get worked on. Oh. We will get it done, and it's going to be fun. I do, for anyone starting out, anyone watching who's like, oh, that's cool, I wish I could do that. There are kits and tutorials available where you can order all the rings and the tutorial for what you're going to make. And that's a good way to start out to avoid having all these unnecessary rings lying around. Another thing to do, or another reason to do it, right, is because a lot of people start out by getting some aluminum fence wire from Lowe's or something. You get a dowel and a drill, and they hand cut a whole bunch of rings, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. But if you do, I don't recommend using galvanized because it stinks. And I say that because I have a galvanized shirt in my shed where it will remain. But a lot of people start out that way, and they make this shirt, and it's okay, and then they're just over it because of how much labor intensive making chainmail is. So when there's an opportunity for someone to get hooked on a really cool hobby, right? And it gets ruined because they don't know that there's resources out there for beginners. Not to toot my own horn, but there's resources like the Mailworks app, which is an app that is full of resources for new people, tutorials and ring manufacturers and other artists and places where other artists hang out and all the stuff I could think to throw in there. I just want to help people avoid what I did, which was spend far too long making rings that were subpar rings, right? Like, they were not good. Instead of becoming a better chainmail artist, right? So, and that's, I mean, by all means, people can do whatever they want, but this is just my 2 cents on it. I think buy a kit, see if you like it. If you do, go nuts. But spending 1,000,000 hours making rings. Now, when you are at the stage that I'm at, right? And you have friends who make really cool ring cutting setups, and they give you advice on how to set yours up right then. Okay, yeah, go. Not to mention how dirty aluminum fencing wire is. Yeah, let's see here. This is bright aluminum, and it's been polished pretty good, but I'm getting some rub off here. But yeah, so like I'm at the point where some of the projects that I want to do are going to take a large number of rings, and I don't want to pay someone else to make them. It would just be cheaper to invest in a high quality, high production setup, and I want to be able to have a full in-house custom chainmail workshop where I can anodize, where I can rivet chainmail, where I can weld chainmail, where I can, I don't know, what else? Make my own rings. So, I don't think that's an unreasonable goal because, I don't know, I've been doing this for a really long time. My whole website's dedicated to covering surfaces like, I don't know, car seat covers and blankets and stuff like that. And my clothing, right? I'm not wearing... come here. This is one of my hoodies, right? It's got a chainmail skull pattern on it. Let's see if I can show that. Right? Is that... I can't see if that's visible. So, I might be a little bit obsessed. But I just, you know, I want to. There was a option on a website to go visit a workshop I didn't realize where this shop was, right? And they've got a workshop coming up in a couple months. I was like, oh cool, where's it at? I might be interested because they have museum curators and professional not replica, professional restorers. I forget what they're called. People who restore historical objects. And so, I mean, just to go get a chance to talk to them, to pick their brain, to learn a little bit about what they know, I think that'd be cool as hell, right? I'd love to go do that. Here's the problem. It's in Nuremberg, Germany, and I don't have a passport or any way to get over to Germany. I was so bummed out. I was like, dang it, Bobby. But yeah, I'd love to go out and do something like that. So, and I'm in an age now where I can do things like have a wood shop and have a chainmail workshop and have, you know, a metal area to work with metal, both blacksmithing and welding and fabricating, stuff like that. So I just don't have, I'm just poor. So, but I'll get there. I've got room in the back to put up a shed, another one. Because I've got like the regular backyard shed that you get from Lowe's. Or I think we got ours from Home Depot. And it's okay, I got that all cleaned up the other day. Oh, what in the world did I do here? Didn't finish a row. But yeah, so I've got room for more outbuildings. So, but a lot of stuff's got to come first, like a Four Seasons room on the back of the house, right? That's probably the number one thing we want to do. We have to replace the deck. That thing is going. Alright, what is this? What did I do here? I just started adding an additional row to that one. Alright, there is, what else? Come on. Wow. Where'd it go? Okay. Thought I lost it. Alright. So yeah, I have room for more outbuildings. I'm half tempted to put two Connexes back there, like 10 feet apart. You know, the big storage containers, and then put a roof over the top of that. It doesn't have to be huge, but it can be secure. It can store all my tools. You know, you can store your tools in the storage containers, right? And then, you know, you can make them look really nice. I'm in a residential area, so I don't know. Like, I'm not out in the country where I can just do my own thing. But have a covered work area. Then there's like Versatube buildings, which are steel, I think is what the thing was, and then you set out your concrete slab and then throw up a building around it. And that was like 15 grand, I think. So not, you know, not terrible. Not the end of the world. But, yeah. Right now, it snowed here, and I'm not a fan at all. Didn't like it last year. Still don't like it this year. My wife made some amazing pot roast for dinner, and then she made banana bread. And at no point in my life have I liked bananas. I didn't like them growing up, and I don't like them now. It was good bread, just has banana flavor in it, and my son will eat the crap out of it though. So, where's I going with that? What? No, don't remember where I was going. Building, food. Oh, yeah. I'm so smart sometimes. Didn't like bananas growing up. Don't like bananas now. Didn't like snow last year. Don't like it now. The corgi puppy loves it, though. I really need to kind of mock up something for him and make a video of it. And get that animal lover kind of push on a post, you know? They'd be like, oh, hee, so cute, a corgi wearing chainmail. But I've got the week. My kid's going to be in school all week. And it's just going to be me and the dog at home. So hopefully I will get a lot of stuff done this week. Like, put my Christmas tree up. I was gonna do that today, but I got lazy. I didn't even think to do it today. But now it's past Thanksgiving. We're gonna have to keep all the ornaments up kind of high, away from the puppy. There. Come on. These are such huge rings. I feel like, you know, when you have a puppy, right, they get those big old paws and they don't know how to use them. That's how it is going from 20 gauge rings to 12 gauge. It's like, I don't know where the ring goes. Alright. Oh. We do have some very interesting projects coming up. I don't know. So I've got all the furniture off the bike to add some chainmail to it, right? Saddlebags, toolkit, helmets. Oh, speaking of helmets, I know what I'm going to do with this hat, right? This hat has a chainmail hat band. Let me grab it, I'll show you. So, there's a chainmail strap on this hat band with my custom-made steampunk goggles from eBay. They are like numbered. They were very expensive. Anyway, I'm gonna take this strap of chainmail off. I'm gonna make a leather strap that has chainmail stamped on it, like the covers on these armrests, my flask, right? And that's gonna, I think, make this wearable and a little more versatile, right? I'm gonna turn it into a tricorn, right, with the leather strap, and then we're gonna put some kind of skull or button on the side, little feather thing. I don't know. We'll figure it out. All right, where was I? I've lost my place again. Okay. I am liking the camera setup over here where I can see the front of the camera on the ring lights. But and it's not. I'll have to play with it some more. Usually the camera is over here on this with the camera flipped and it's looking down at whatever I'm doing. And I've had this ring light the whole time. I'm figuring stuff out as I go along. I just need to figure out how to get to 10,000 followers. So if you like chainmail, please hit the follow button, hit the like button, hit the share button, and give me that trifecta. Because it really helps out. Did I do that right? I don't know. So in order to, once you get to 10,000 followers, you can use the TikTok Live Studio. And in order to get verified, right, like you have to have like articles written about you. Some really interesting qualifications to be able to go live from your PC, right? What time is it? How long are we going? An hour? Doesn't feel like we've gotten anything done. Like, I know that we have, but... Right, this is... I kind of feel like we're... If you cut this in half, right, and give it one more half, that's probably how big the bag should be, right? How big the big should be. I know words. Excuse me. I'm as good as speaker as my nephew is a speller. Alright, so if we go another 7 rows up, then we can close out the top of the bag and do up the seams on the sides, close up the top with some kind of closure. I don't think that... Okay, normal dice bag, when it closes, is like the rings collapse in on themselves. Kind of helps hold the bag closed. This has these stiff seams, 6 of them, right? So it's not... There's not as much collapse, right? So... I don't know if that's going to affect how we close the opening when it's all said and done, but we'll see. Okay. That's those. It's a new row. That looks good. I'm just trying to figure out where I... Ah, here it is. Okay, this one and... And then I'll make one out to the size I want and start matching the rest. I think that this will be finished here pretty quick, to be honest. I don't mean like tonight, but, you know, just a couple of days. And it's moving so fast because these rings are huge. I feel like I should just start making shirts out of these. Use stainless steel, obviously, but 12 gauge, 3/8, 4-in-1. You can make huge sheets of this super easy. What am I doing trying to be creative and artisty? Just make shirts from big ass rings. People buy them. All right, I think, nope. One more row. And this will actually be for sale. Itself, I won't have to make, I don't need to go and make a shirt, right? Like, this bag was, I had every intention of selling it when I started it. It'll be a very unique chainmail bag. Speed up shirts, use neoprene rings with anodized aluminum. Not having to, there you go. Yep. One of the projects that I've got to fund still is, there's a guy on TikTok, his name's Dash Render, and he was shooting some war bows at some chainmail, and you know, the chainmail did about as good as you'd expect. Was that the row? That was the only row I needed to add, right? Okay. Yeah, okay. I want to use some, okay, so he had butted and riveted rings that he was shooting at, which standard, right? But I've got a welder over here. I was just gonna order some big square wire rings and weld those up, but I wanted to do square wire and solid rings, like washers. And then send him that and see how well his stuff works against that. And then I was going to make some chainmail from split rings. Get like some stainless steel key rings. We'll weave all those together. Because, from what I understand, I've read a bunch of stuff in the last 27 years. And from what I understand, right, without having researched it, I'm not claiming that this is 100% accurate, but essentially, the connecting, what's the word I'm looking for? The scale of strength in chainmail goes butted. Why can't I talk? Hold up my arms, stick on my tongue. I think I'm good. The scale of strength for the different types of chainmail and the rings used to make them, right, is butted's the weakest, riveted is next, then split rings, and then welded. And the reason I think that is just based off of like what I remember from some tests I've seen people do. I'm not claiming it's 100% accurate or anything. I just that's what I have been led to believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, right. And I could be wrong, but I don't think it's that wrong, right? So he only had 2 types of rings with which he was firing his arrows at. So split rings and welded rings, which are not historical. Not really, right? Like most of the medieval chainmail is going to be riveted. There will be some butted in there. But I don't think you really see anything resembling a split ring, which is just a key ring for anyone watching. I don't think that you really see... Wow, what happened to the volume on this song? I don't think you really see anything... Whoa. We're getting some feedback from the comment section over here from the guy that would know. Welded butted rings are not as strong as overlap welded. Riveted is better than welded. Butted rings due to weld areas affect breakage spots. Ideal is riveted then welded on the edge. Yeah, so I was going to say, I don't think you see anything resembling a split ring until you move into chainmail that was in the East, right? China, Japan. So it's not that it's ahistorical, it's someone had done it, but you'd have to, not in the European realm that I'm aware of. And I'm not an expert, so take what I say with a grain of salt. Okay, so welded butted rings are not as strong as overlap welded. Riveted, then welded. Okay, so riveted then welded is what you're saying is the strongest? John would know. John knows these things. All right, one. Rare field repairs have keyring shape, but are not keyrings necessarily. Eh. Why is this ring being testy? My goodness. Alright. So anyway, I would like to send him some welded rings, a sheet of welded rings large enough for him to shoot at, and a sheet of split rings large enough for him to shoot at, just to see, and for content, what kind of damage his bows can administer. And there is another type of ring. So you've got butted rings, which is just your regular ring that I'm working with here. Riveted, the ends of the rings overlap, and there's a rivet through. And you've got split rings, which are like key rings, and then welded, self-explanatory. There is someone who's making these things called theta rings. And I think that they're just cool looking. Right? They are rings that have it's a dividing line, right? That's woven into the right, here's your ring. Right, and the ring circles around, and then it's riveted, and it's bent and goes down. It's bent. Okay, the wire is used to make the ring, and then it's bent down through the diameter of the ring, right? And then it's riveted at the top and the bottom, which I think is cool. The thing to look at is how the ring will fail. If the wire fails, then it doesn't matter what ring would fail. If rivet fails, then that's on the armor. If you can set the rivet, then weld the edge to prevent the rivet ripping out. It will make a better than period armor. Welded butted rings, the weld zone is strongest point, but the wire is weakest on the edge of the weld, and that is where they are not as good as riveted rings. So a full anneal and retemper is required, and that has all its own issues. Most historic examples of theta rings were punched, not wound to shape. Well, what's that guy making then? Is he punching them? There's a guy in one of the riveted chainmail group, I think it is, and he's making them. If you can punch them out, I don't care. I just like the way they look. They're really cool with the rings with a dividing line down the middle that adds to chainmail's already cool to look at, fun to play with. It just adds a nice appeal to me. All right. I'm trying to close some rings and then weave a little bit faster, but I keep forgetting to close the rings, so. You know who I speak of, likely Spencer, and he's going off the idea the first ring on a slit mandrel makes the E shape that is then struck like a rivet ring and makes a nice belt buckle look. Yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy. I just think it looks cool, honestly. Want to play with it. See what I can come up with. But there's a lot of things I'd like to do, and I will get there one day. Okay, I hate closing rings. It's dumb. I don't like this method. I gotta sneeze, but it doesn't, it's going away. Now it's gonna sneak up on me. A great self-proclaimed apprentice of yours does some nice work that you encourage him in any way you can aid him. Right on, buddy. Right on. I think it's definitely so much easier picking this stuff up when you've got someone who can just point you in the right direction on certain things, or help you come up with the ideas and help you avoid common mistakes, or, you know, simple pitfalls that other chainmail artists have attempted, you know, and you know it doesn't work. Like, something I don't see a lot of is, as I mentioned earlier, chainmail joinery, like woodworking joinery and metal joinery. I mentioned it, but I did not follow up. There are a bunch of different weaves that you can connect together, but that's not necessarily what I'm talking about. And I got this idea when that cube, the brass and bronze cube I did, there's two cubes and they intersect through each other. It's pretty cool, right? But that's just one example of an idea that of what I would consider chainmail joinery, right? Because there's, how to explain this, right? You can, okay, so here's what I was thinking, right? I was thinking, this is 9 feet of full Persian. I've got a lot more of this. I was thinking, what if I did like strands of this, multiple strands, on like a 3-foot platform, going all the way around in a Christmas tree style decoration, right? And then building the branches, the netting, right? I could use a different weave for that, and just make it look like a Christmas tree, and then hang Christmas ornaments off of it, right? And how to put all that together. It's like there's like you can merge 2 weaves together for sure, right? Where it goes from transitions from one weave smoothly into the other, and you can also just like straight up connect 2 different weaves, you know. Right, these are all loops going through each other. They could all be different weaves, and then you can build off of that, right? Issue is the ruler we all use does not match everyone's rings, and that changes folks' aspect ratio. It doesn't help metric thrown in with fractions versus true measurements. Until we can all laser capture ring aspect ratio with a picture, it's going to be hard to truly share weave joins. You mean weave joins? Weave joins. I don't think the tolerances for anything I've done are so high that we need to be that specific. Right. What size ring to what weave will work to join each weave? What size ring to what weave will work to? I mean, there's... Look, I have GSG connected with strips of interwoven 4-in-1 on a guitar strap right here. They're all the same ring size. Right? So, are you saying that no one could make a like a guide or write down a list of all the things that work together? I don't know if that's what you're getting at, but that... come on. On that, I can't argue that because of everything you just said, but... When you try to match just aspect ratio in your smaller 30 gauge, it doesn't work in most aspect ratios. Folks call out in a weave and need to adjust them tighter. Try to match aspect ratios in your smaller 30 gauge. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Why is that happening? Just because of bad aspect ratio measurements? And faulty information from mismanaged libraries of information that don't cater to their supposed customers? I think I get what you're saying. So that's the industry will either continue to develop and become better and better at making things more perfect. Right, as the chainmail hobby takes hold in unsuspecting people's homes, you know, that'll make more lifetime customers like me who are trying to make everything better eventually. And you know how the industry of chainmail may be 2,000 years old, or the art or the skill of chainmail may be 2,000 years old, but the art is really like 40 years old. And I mean, look how far we come in 40 years since someone said, I want to make this, and then built out the whole system, you know. So it's an economies of scale thing. The more people that get involved that have an issue with what you're saying, right? With rings not being the correct size, or a database not having the right information in it, right? That'll all get fixed as more and more people get involved. Like, I don't know anyone who makes chainmail for, like, to stay warm in the winter, right? Like, people knitted and crocheted for several thousand years, and quilted, and they did all that stuff, you know, because if they didn't, they would freeze to death. And all the quilting and all the crocheting and, right, all of that has thousands of millions of participants, whereas chainmail has what? 30,000? So they've had a whole lot more people getting involved in figuring out the issue than what we have. Am I there yet? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. Oh yeah, that's it. This is the last row on this portion. What time is it? Oh, hey, look at that. 10 o'clock. So it's just like my theory that one day we'll have a machine that can just spit out any weave, you know, welded rings with the perfect ring size that you want and all of that, right? Like, I think someone's going to get bored and make that, but we just haven't found that person yet, or put all that knowledge together collectively, because there's just not a lot of people who do this. All right. That's... Oh, almost done. One more ring. And we'll see how this looks in the size. Here's one thing, is like, I think this bag will sell pretty quick, right? And it was made pretty quick. I mean, clearly I'm not done, right? Okay, so here's the bottom of the bag down here. Kind of comes. That may be a little too much. Maybe not. Maybe once it's all together, all the edges seamed up, maybe it'll look fine. All right. Okay. That's all I have time for. If you're watching, let's see here. Let me switch this over. All right, whatever platform you're watching on. My name's Sean. I run mailworks.com. And if you like what you're looking at and want to know how to make more cool chainmail stuff, right? There is an app in my link tree in the bio, and it's the Mailworks app, and it has shamelessly a link to my store, but it also has a bunch of resources for new and veteran chainmail artists. Things like tutorials, where to find ring manufacturers, where to find other chainmail artists, where to find groups that make chainmail, things like that. So, if you want to know more, download that app, check it out, and go look at all those resources. It's basically all the resources I would have wanted when I first started. It's not exhaustive. I've still got some more sites to add, right? But as of right now, it's pretty good. So go download it, check it out, and learn how to make some chainmail because it's super fun. If you like what you see and you don't want to make chainmail and you want to see more, like, follow, share. Hit the trifecta of all the buttons I need everyone to push to become TikTok famous, or Facebook famous, or Twitch famous. All right, and with that, come here, phone. All right. Don't do it, man. All right. So I am. Thanksgiving's over. I should be back doing this pretty much nightly. So if you want to come hang out, please do. I will see you all later. Have a good night. Bye. All right. All right, Johnny. Am I understanding what you were saying? I don't know if he's still in here. Anyway, just text me.
Is there anything more?
All right, because I think I get what you're saying, but we can talk